Good morning, all of you. And today we shall discuss the next concept, that is the comparators. So, comparators are used when we want to compare the two objects according to our need rather than on the natural way how comparison takes place in Java. So, both tree set and tree map elements are sorted in the memory. So, however, we need a comparator to precisely tell what should be the sorted order. By default, these classes store their elements by using the natural order, what is built into the Java. So, in that particular order, we expect A will appear first, then B will appear like that. Or if it is a numerical value, then 1 will appear first, 2 next, and so on. If you want the elements to be ordered in a different way, then we must specify the constructor comparator. And this comparator must be specified when we create a map or a set itself. So by specifying in the beginning only, the runtime of the Java will be able to organize the elements as and when they are added in the sorted order. So comparator is a generic interface. So with the declaration like interface comparator T. So T is nothing but the type of the object that is being compared. The comparator interface has two methods. So those methods are compare and equals. So compare method so interfaces has this syntax. So the compare method compare two elements uh, for the ordering. So two objects must be passed for this compare method, that is object 1 and object 2. This method will return 0 if both the objects are equal, and returns a positive value if object 1 is greater than the object 2, and a negative value is returned when the object 1 is less than the object 2. So all the three cases will be there. So if object 1 is greater, then positive. If object 2 is greater than negative value. If both are equal, then 0 will be returned. So this compare method is capable of uh, throwing the class cast exception. So if the type of the objects that are being compared for comparison are different. By overriding the compare method, we can alter the way objects are ordered in the Java. For example, we may encounter a situation where we need reverse ordering, which means when we need a descending order. In that case, we can create a comparator that reverses the outcome of the comparison. So equals method is used to equate two objects. Means here we can test whether an object is equal to the invoking comparator or not. So the syntax is boolean equals object obj. The equals method is with the syntax, this one. This is the syntax of equals method. This particular method true if the object and the invoking object are both comparator objects and they both use the same ordering mechanism. So otherwise it will return false. So we need to override the equals method if we don't specify the comparator. So overriding of equals method is unnecessary if we use the simple comparators, because the comparator will do the task of comparing. So we shall look at an example program how we can use comparative objects. So consider this particular program where we will have to declare a comparator. So we'll write a class. So here with the name of the comparator, implementing the comparator interface, and the data type is string. Then inside this method, inside this class, we should have a method that is compare, and the return type should be integer. So two strings it should take. So depending on the data type, whatever we have specified here, the same data type should be specified with a name of our own. So two strings are there. So we can create a strings, and then we can reverse the comparison. So if we have A and B strings like this, so the comparison will be against A and B. If you want a reverse ordering, then the comparison output must be B and A. So the similar way we are reversing, that is on B we will invoke the A. So both the strings are there, that is A string and B string, we are converting into an object. So A is stored in A string and B is stored in B string, and reverse comparative we will use. So comparative will follow the natural ordering. If we reverse the occurrences of these strings, then which means by default this the comparison order also will change. So now we have a comparator that works in a reverse order. So for that thing, implementing this comparator, then declaring this compare method is mandatory. And this compare method should return an integer value. So integer value 0, positive or negative value, that must be returned. Now in order to implement a comparator, we must have one more class. So this class is just a comparator. Main class is not present yet. So in the main class, that is the demo, we'll declare a tree set. So tree set is there of a string. While creating a tree set, we must pass the comparator, and we'll pass a new myComp. So myComp is the comparator what we have declared over here. That comparator we need to specify here, a comparator object we are passing. Then we will keep on adding the elements into the tree set. C, A, B, E, F, and D are added. So once we add it, then we can print it. So using a for loop. Now let us execute this and check the output. It is, if you observe, F, E, D, C, B, A. So which means it is in the reverse order. So our comparator has reversed. Now, if we remove this comparator, which means we are not using the comparator. If we don't use the comparator, see here, it is ABCDF only. So it is this comparator that is changing the order of the elements. So again, I will put it. So we'll get it in the reverse order. So this is how a custom comparator can be created so that we can order the elements in the manner we want. So let us discuss one more program, that is the using a comparator to sort the accounts based on the last name. So how we can specify the ordering based on the last name. So for that, once again, we need to implement the comparator and compare method. So in the compare method, we are taking A and B, two strings. So in order to compare the last name, we must extract the part of the last name. So first what we have to do, we will store A and B in A string and B string. Then we have to cut this particular string so that we can extract the last name. So for that, what we'll do is A string dot last index of space is given, empty space. So this will take the last part of the string and its index is written. So here the I will be holding the first one and B will be holding the second one. Then what we'll do, again we'll use the comparator, that is a string dot substring I, a substring that is being started at I will be compared with a substring that is starting at j. Based on the index of the space position, we'll start comparing the strings. So if k is 0, which means the last names are same. If the last names are same, then we must sort the name based on the first name only. Then we can specify a string dot compare to b string, else we'll return the k value. So if last names are same, then the sorting will happen on the first name. So first name means a string and b string. So in order to compare based on the last name, so these three statements are used where we extract the index of the last name for the first string, last name of the second string, then we will compare them. The substrings are extracted and compared. Here everything is written in a single statement. So we can split these statements and also write it. Now in the demo method, that is a main method. So things are same. The new comparator is you pass it over here. The comparator name is tcomp. So tcomp is passed over here. The rest of the things is same. That is the adding the elements into the tree, then iterating over and printing it. It is same. So in the name we have first name and last name. Now if you observe B, D, H, S and S. So if Smith, these are same. So the sorting has taken place on the first name. So it is a tree with key and value pairs. So out of the key, we are sorting it based on the last name. And again here the balance updation, just how we did it in all our previous example only done. So this is the important part in this particular program, that is a class that is implementing the comparator. So next we shall discuss the algorithms that are present in the collections. So the collection classes and packages in Java has their own algorithms. So collection framework defines several algorithms that can be applied on the collections and maps. So these algorithms are defined based no, as a static methods within the collection classes. So we shall discuss the algorithms. So with JDK5, all these algorithms has been redefined and repackaged into the generics. So they are retrofitted so that all the previous programs which were running should also run with these new ones. So although generic syntax might be intimidating, it may look complex, but the algorithms are simple to use. So, and they are also type safe. Let us look at the various lists of the algorithms that are present in the Java package. So for each method, we'll just look at their description. So first method is add all. So this add all method will add all the collections, whatever we passed into a invoked collection. That is, the inserts the elements specified by the element variable into a collection, which is specified by C. So remember, these are static methods. So these static methods are not invoked on any object. Instead, it works on an entire class itself. So the collection we have to pass C, and then the elements that we need to add is passed as separate parameter. Then we have a as LIFO queue. If we want to convert a queue, DQ into a LIFO queue, that is the last in first out manner, we can use this particular as LeFoucault algorithm. So these are methods, but internally they will be implementing the algorithm. Then if you want the binary search, we can use this binary search method. So here a search value will be given and it conducts the search for the value in the list ordered according to the comparator C. If a value is found, it will return its position in the list, and if a value is not found, it will return the negative. Then binary search tree, one more algorithm is that it will search for the values in the list. The list must be sorted here, and it returns the position of the value in the list if it is found, and negative if value is not found. Then we have checked collection algorithm, which means a method that is implementing the checked collection algorithm returns a runtime type-safe view of the collection. Here it will make an attempt to insert an incompatible element into the collection, then a class cast exception will be raised. So checked collection returns a type-safe view of a collection. Then we have one more, that is the checked list. So checked list, again, it will try to return the type-safe view of a list. That's it. Then we have a few more methods, that is the map method. Map, checked map. So checked map return a type safe map. That's it. Then checked set returns a type safe set of the collection what we have used. Then checked sorted map returns a type safe view of a sorted map. Then checked sorted set returns a type safe view of a sorted set. Then the method that is copy. So copy method will be useful in copying the elements of a list 2 to list 1. So this copy method takes two lists, that is list 1 and list 2. So it will, whatever the elements that are present in the list 2 will be copied to list 1. Then disjoint method. So disjoint is nothing but a set operation. So compares the elements in two collections, that is A and B. It returns true if two collection contains no common elements. Otherwise it will return true. Otherwise it will return false. So it will verify whether it is a disjoint or not. So disjoint means the intersection of those two collections should be empty. So which means no common element should be present. Then empty list. So empty list method returns an immutable empty list object of a inferred type. So whatever type you have used, that type an immutable empty list will be returned. So similarly, we have empty map returns an immutable empty map object. Then empty set, so returns immutable empty set. Then enumeration, so it will return an enumeration of the collections. So whatever collections is there, it will get enumerated and then returned. Then fill method, so this assigns the object to each element in the list. So just fill up. So list we have to pass object. So this object will fill up the list. So each element gets assigned. The additional method that are present in this particular algorithms, list of algorithms, is the frequency. So frequency will count the number of occurrences of an object in a collection and it will return the result. So how many times this object has appeared in the collection, that value will be returned. Index of sublist. So index of sublist method takes a list and a sublist and it will search the list for the first occurrence of the sublist. If a sublist is present in the list, then it will return the index. Otherwise, -1 will be returned. Then last index of sublist. So search the list for the occurrence of sublist. So then if it is found, it will return the index of the last position, or it will return -1. Then we have list method. So it returns an array list that contains the elements of an enumerator. Max returns the maximum element in the collection C based on the given comparator. Then again, one more max method returns the maximum element in the collection C based on the natural ordering. Okay, if collection is not specified, then it will be based on the natural ordering. So similar to max, we have minimum methods also. So minimum method based on the comparator, minimum method based on the natural ordering. Then we have one more method, the n copies. So n copies method returns the number of copies of the object that is present in an immutable list, and the number should be greater than or equal to 0. Whatever the return value will be 0 if the element is not present, and it is a positive int value if the object is present that many number of times. Then new set from map. So this creates and returns a set backed by the map specified by m, and it must be empty at the time this particular map gets when it is created. Then replace all method. So here we'll pass the list, old value and the new value. So it will replace the occurrence of old values with the new values in this particular list. See here, for all these algorithms, these are static. So that's why object, instead of invoking this particular method on the objects, we have to pass the collection objects over there. Then reverse list. So it will reverse the list. Then reverse order of the comparator. So if we define a comparator, then we can reverse it using the reverse order. Natural reversing order can be done over here. Then we have other methods like the rotate method. So it rotates the list by n places to the right. Rotate left, we have to pass a negative number. So rotation number we have to pass over here. Then shuffling, so random R. So it shuffles or randomizes the element in the list by using the random numbers, and random number, that is the R, we have to pass over here. Then just shuffling the list. So if we don't give past the random numbers of our own, then by naturally it will shuffle and randomize it using the shuffle method. Then singleton. So this singleton returns object of an immutable set. This will convert single object into a set. So object we are passing, so it will be converted into a set. So singleton list, a single object gets converted into a list. Then singleton map. So the key and value we are passing, that gets converted into a map object. The other methods on the collection, where the number of algorithms are implemented, so it includes the sort method. So sort method will sort the given list based on the given comparator. So comparator also passing, list is also passed. So it will sort the element. Then sort method, only list is passed. So sorts the element of a list as determined by the natural order. So using the natural ordering, sorting will take place. Then swap. So swapping, we are passing a list and two index. So the objects present in these two index get swapped. then synchronized collection. So this returns a thread safe collection. Then synchronized list is a thread safe list, thread safe map, thread safe set, then thread safe map, thread safe sorted set, thread safe. So thread safe means, if multiple processes are accessing the same or multiple threads are accessing the same collection, then the synchronization mechanism will be done. Then unmodified collection. So it returns an unmodified version of the collection, whatever we have passed. Then unmodified list is also passed over here. So unmodifiable map, unmodifiable set, unmodifiable sorted map, unmodifiable sorted set. So among the collection, we can have an unmodified version. So which means whatever it is returning, that one we cannot modify. Which means that the object has become the final. So these are the methods that are defined by the collections. So we might have noticed that the several methods are there in the synchronized list or synchronized set. So none of the standard collection implementations are synchronized. So we must use the synchronization algorithms to provide the synchronization. So iterators to synchronized collection must be used within the synchronized block. So in Java, we have a synchronized block to create a synchronization. So, and the methods that are unmodifiable return views of a various collection that cannot be modified. So these unmodified versions are useful when we want to, grant some process to read and some process not to write. So then we can use it. So collection defines three static variables, that is empty set, empty list, and empty map. So all these are immutable. So we shall look into an example program where we can implement the reversing of an element, or using the comparator or the inbuilt algorithm. We will reverse the list. So consider this particular program, that is the algorithms demo. Here we are declaring a linked list of integers, and then we will add the elements into this particular linked list. So -8, 20, -20, and 8. Then we will use a comparator, that is collections dot reverse order. So which means in this collection now we are reversing the order. So once we reverse, so we can sort it. So by calling collections dot sort. So remember, we have to call it on collections object. So collection object is present in the util package dot sort. For this sort, we are passing the our linked list LL followed by the comparator R. So comparator means it is telling it is a reverse order. So now our list should be in the sorted in the reverse order. That we will print, and using the for each we can print each element. So for I L in LL, so I will be printed. So this is about reverse ordering. Now we can shuffle the list using collection dot shuffle LL. So it gets shuffled, which means in the random order. Then the shuffled order also we can print. Then if we want to use the uh, maximum and minimum elements that are present, we can use collections dot min, collections dot max. That array we have to linked list that we have to pass as a parameter. So now let us execute this and see the output. So we can see over here the algorithm in reverse order it is specifying, that is 20, 8, -8, and -20. So in the descending order. Now shuffled, there is a random ordering. Then maximum minimum value is 20 and minimum value is -20. So that has been printed. So we can use all the algorithms that are present in the collection package.